Champions Cup, folks. Glasgow taking on Racing 92 from what seemed like a pretty cold Glasgow. I sit here, middle of summer in New Zealand with my kids nagging me to take them to the beach. But yeah, Glasgow 29-19 in pretty cold conditions like I mentioned. Stunning first half from Glasgow. From a Racing point of view, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen a missed tackle percentage that high in all the years I've been doing these videos. I might be wrong. There might be a game I'm forgetting. Maybe New Zealand Tonga where we put like 100 points on them. But atrocious first half, complemented by a fantastic first half from Glasgow. They'll be disappointed they didn't have more points. It's almost nuts they didn't have more points. They made so many chances, Glasgow. Second half was a lot more even. Racing ended up chasing a couple of losing bonus points. Well, losing bonus point, 4-try bonus point, didn't get either. Glasgow walk away from this one, I think pretty happy to go into this one and, nab a bonus point win. They were predicted pretty heavy favourites. They only ended up doing it by 10. I say only, but they played some stunning rugby in the first half. They'll not be happy with the second if we're being kind of overly critical. But we'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Like I mentioned, good crowd there despite the cold conditions for an evening Friday night kickoff. And they were treated to some hot stuff from Glasgow early. They were just scything through a very lackluster Racing defence. The first move, I think it was like Tuipulotu setting that one up, didn't quite score, but the second attack did. The great hands, the likes of Horn, Jones, Mackay, all involved, with Horn able to kind of round it out and finish it off on 2 minutes. 7 points to nil to Glasgow. Absolute flying start. As I mentioned, the only play Racing really had in the first 10 minutes was Sordoni, the big former Glasgow prop, getting himself into some space from turnover ball. And their first chance at a 5-metre line-out, Glasgow shut them down pretty handily, and the crowd absolutely loved that. And every time Glasgow got the ball, they were just finding space. It just felt dangerous. I mean, Steyn had a chance, but kind of lost the ball in the tackle. Horn went close again. Sadly, he had to go off not long later. But his replacement, Jamie Dobby, he was able to get on the board on 17 minutes. And it felt like it had been coming. Like 17 minutes. It had been coming for a wee while. Matt Fagerson with a kind of shimmy step. Line break from him. The conversion, I think that one hit the post. They had a couple hit the post from Jordan, but 12 points to nil. And it was really starting to look like a rout because they scored a few minutes later. Cancellieri, 22 minutes. Scrum free kick. Dobby, he quick taps it. They go through the hands again. The likes of Jordan, Tuipulotu, some great hands. Was it Jordan with the kind of out the back pass? Mackay and then Cancellieri with the finish. So it's 17-0. I think that one did hit the post. If the previous one did, this one definitely did. So apart from the conversions not going over, it's just looking all Glasgow. That being said, they did blow a bunch of chances. They could have had more. And Habosi managed to get one for Racing 92. Their only points of the first half. And he was maybe their best player in the first half. When he did get the ball, he was actually able to get some go forward going. It was a scrappy try as well. They probably, if they'd looked hard enough, could have found something to chalk it off. There was potentially knock-ons or potentially a bit of interference in the air, but they still give it. And 17-7. So given the momentum in the game and how lopsided it has felt, the fact that it's 17-7 didn't quite feel right. But that being said, they did get the bonus point try before halftime. Glasgow with another line break. They managed to not score from the initial line break, but kick themselves at 50-22 instead, which then led to the try from a line out. Tuipulotu ends up getting man of the match, runs a great line. They must have done some research because he ran kind of a diagonal line back inside, which just left the Racing guys at 6s and 7s. So that's the bonus point, 22-7 at halftime. And the stats are nuts. Like possessions 50-50. The territory is actually Racing's way, but defenders beaten is 27-9. And the clean breaks is 9-3. You often don't see 9 clean breaks in a game. So the fact that one team had 9 clean breaks in a half is insane. And Glasgow were tackling at 91%. So the fact they conceded a try is maybe almost a bit surprising. But Racing at 55%. 55%. As I said, it is in recent memory the worst tackle to miss tackle ratio I have seen. I don't know how long. Ages, if not the worst ever. To be at 55% is shockingly bad. 70-something% is bad. If you're at 80%, you're a bit low. 85, solid. 90, oh wow, really great. 95, test level, unbelievable. 55 is like a pub team. I don't know. Shockingly bad. But I mean, you got to give credit, to Glasgow. They were playing some sweet, sweet rugby. But goodness me, Glasgow shouldn't be able to get away with that much. Racing need to defend a bit better than that. Too many times where they just flat-footed 6s and 7s. Second half's a bit more scrappy, especially at the start. Glasgow get free kicked at scrum time. Then Levi, the halfback for Racing, just hoofs the damn thing out on the full, which is kind of a testament to the way they had been playing. Racing attitude tried to shift things up on 49 minutes when they were under a bit of pressure. They brought on 5 forward replacements at once to see if it could make any difference. Glasgow probably should have scored on 51 minutes. A few minutes later, when Stain did all the hard work, just couldn't find a support player to go over for a try. But there were loads of moments like that for Glasgow, to be fair. And they did show on 59 minutes, when Darge went over, they showed Racing how a 5-metre line-out and maul drive is set. They just went through the Racing defence like a hot knife through butter. But it wasn't Johnny Matthews this time, it was Darge. So 29-7. But that's the final scoring for Glasgow, and that's the only points in the second half, which is why I say, given how good they were in the first half, it's maybe a little bit disappointing they didn't get more points, especially when they kind of got outscored in the second. Darge got some nice turnovers, though. He got a really great one in 64 minutes to shut down a Racing attack. He got clobbered not long after the whistle had blown for his troubles, but there was no extra punishment for the Racing guys for that one. And then a kind of sudden yellow card out of nowhere for Matt Ferguson with a bit of cynical stuff at the breakdown means he goes to the bin, and it is a chance for Racing to punish with the man advantage, and they did twice. Mazibuko, the big replacement prop with a pick and go from close range, that made it 29-14. And then Tedder got one, the centre, from a kind of kick in the big line break from spring down the left wing. Hoof, they chased it, they got the bounce, and they spread it wide. He's able to go over in the corner. So 29-19, chance to chase the 4-try bonus point, chance to chase the losing bonus point. They can't get it done. Tupulotu hoofing it out a minute after he's been named man of the match on the full was maybe a bit of a way that it's fitting, given that the way Glasgow didn't play their best rugby in the second half. Racing knocked it on with the clock well into the red after a bunch of phases meant no bonus points for them. Possession and territory finished close-ish. Racing edged the possession 53%. Glasgow edged the territory 56%. Run meters 546 to 363 is pretty comfortable for Glasgow. But remember those attacking numbers, 37-24 is the defenders beaten. But 10 in the second half for Glasgow compared to their 27 in the first half. Means they weren't able to bust those tackles. Racing actually had 15 in the second half, so they kind of out-tackle busted Glasgow. Likewise, clean breaks finishes 10-7. Remember, it was 9 in the first half for Glasgow, so only 1 in the second. Tackle percentage finishes 90% Glasgow, which is still class. 71% Racing. So they were actually at 83% in the second half, which is fine. It's not fantastic, but it's not out of the ordinary. It's normal. 55% was absolutely abnormal. Individuals, Kyle Stain, 81 metres, 9 defenders beaten. Sharp probably could have helped set up at least a try or 2 more. Tupulotu, 8 defenders beaten. Hugh Jones kept getting himself into space, 6 defenders beaten. Habossi had 5 defenders beaten for Racing. Darge had 23 tackles. That guy is a machine. Glasgow will face Harlequins in their final match of the group stage of the Champions Cup next, and Racing will be at home to the Stormers. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. If you're a Glasgow fan, are you chuffed that your team's looking pretty sharp in the Champions Cup, or are you a little bit disappointed with the way you couldn't put them more to the sword? It's hard to be disappointed with a big bonus point win like that. It's just such a contrast from half to half. But you guys let us know your thoughts, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Ta-ra.